America wants, nice and calm. You almost there.
Yeah, I did it. I cried 2 tears in a bucket. Fuck it. Let's take it to the stage.
You dig it? You knock a dude down, you get some respect.
Hey, what's going on? All right. Yeah, I see Black Man. What's going on? Hey, listen, happy Monday to everybody. Hopefully you guys survived the storm. The storm was pretty severe. We're pretty cool over here. Got my ladies in the house, so it was like a full house, hunkered in, sheltered in place, and all that kind of good stuff. And guess what? The snowstorm didn't give a shit about red states or blue states. It just fell. It just fell over everybody. But hey, listen, we're in the Northeast, so snow is not it's not a stranger to the Northeast. So here we go. It's wintertime, so a little snow is expected. So here we go again, talking a little bit about the insurgency in Minnesota, the outright contempt for the federal government, and the lawlessness that happens when your leadership puts batteries in the back of its population and tries to protect the worst criminals in their state against being caught by law enforcement. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and all that kind of good stuff. So kind of get settled in. I'm not going to be here that long. I got a whole lot less clips than I used to have. I think everybody has already chosen the side that they want to be on, already. So, we're going to just go ahead and see where it lands. Now, one of the questions I have for people, doesn't it feel like we're already in some kind of, nobody wants to say it, but there's civil unrest. And since it's in one state and unlike the other sanctuary cities, Minnesota's in violent protest against the federal government. And because the federal government is trying to get to the bad guys and the people are stopping them, it seems like this is all the federal government's fault. Well, that's not true. Do they have issues? And we're going to talk about some of that. But, this is a simple fix. And you're going to hear this repeated over and over and over. If the governor and the mayor just allows ICE to coordinate with local law enforcement at the local level and the state troopers, all this shit will go away. All of it will go away. A whole lot less ICE agents and ATF agents and they said the border control would be completely out of the picture if they could pick up, the criminals right from the jail cells or from the courtrooms or for wherever else they house them. But the governor and the mayor refuse to comply. And they refuse with violent rhetoric and stuff like that. So here we go, so we are where we are, so they say like 13 to 17 states are considered blue and in opposition to the government, but not to the degree of Minnesota. So this is a good way to shield the fact that they're bleeding the taxpayers dry through the broken system in Minnesota as well. Because we're not even talking about the fact that there's billions of dollars that was stolen and funneled back to Somalia with the knowledge allegedly of the people in power. You know what I'm saying? Including the AG, allegedly. So there you go. So, so there's what we have. So I wanted to just kind of go down to this thing. I think a lot of people haven't really realized that, this is a good civics lesson as well. Let me put it to you that way. Because a lot of people don't understand that even though we have a United States, the 10th Amendment gives a tremendous amount of power to the states, and rightfully so, right? The states could decide how marriages work, how divorces work, the baby deletion, whether you're real liberal or kind of conservative and how much you can let and what the dates, how many months and all that kind of good stuff, Plan B and all that. And some stuff should be local, and even the control of the police force is local. It's local. So the states are well within their rights to tell their police officers not to respect the detainers from the federal government. It sounds stupid, but they can do it. Okay. However, the states cannot stop the federal government to go into a state to get the criminals. You can't protect the criminals from the federal government by declaring yourself a sanctuary. And that's where the rub is, right? That's the rub. They're trying to protect, they're saying they're protecting the citizen, but they're really trying to protect the ideology of the liberals and the Democrats of flooding this country with illegals so they can get a new voting bloc. And guess what? They're trying to replace your black ass, and we'll get to some of that as well. So I just don't think people are really looking at this right, because their eyes and their mind is jaundiced based on their ideology, based on their hatred of Trump, based on the fact that, some people think anything goes, the individual rights are more important than the rights of the society. So there you have it. Complete unrest in Minnesota. And so the other blue states are bad enough, but they haven't, even Chicago hasn't risen to the level of Minnesota. And so, I think, let me say it right. I think it's a good thing that we're starting to see that the rot and has been exposed. That there's forces in certain states that don't believe that this country should be sovereign, that we should be the ashtray to the world and just let anybody come here and feed off the tit of the American taxpayer. And if you agree with that, okay, that's your business. I think it's idiotic. The reason why Social Security is always saying that it's going to run out, it's not an endless faucet. Some of these people are siphoning off Social Security benefits by the billions. And so if you worked your whole life and you want your Social Security, and you only can hope it's there 10, 20, 30 years from now, well, guess what? These kind of things draw off that reserve. Well, there's probably no reserve. I mean, we're spending it as fast as it's going in. It's faster, right? Because it's less workers than the people who are alive drawing money out. So there you go. It's like a Ponzi scheme. So let me ask you guys a question. Let me ask y'all a question. Have you ever wondered why these riots are not going on in the red states or even in the blue cities that cooperate with ICE? Have you just answer that question, and you'll have the answer to Minnesota. Just think about it. The people, the ICE sends maybe one or two agents in, pick up the criminals they need to pick up. They don't have to go through 1,000 people screaming and blowing whistles, ramming their cars and things of that nature. They just pick the guys up and go. No collateral damage. Like if you're out of compliance, they're not looking for you. And if they could pick up the criminals from the jail, most likely y'all won't even have an encounter with ICE. But when ICE has to put 1,000 people in the street to get the same amount of people, they're going to pick up anybody that they find who is out of compliance, and you're going to be subject to deportation. That's just how that works. It's common sense. And so the powers that be in Minnesota, have done a disservice to their population. And so and then they ratcheted it up when they found the martyrs that they were looking for, right? So they found a couple of martyrs, right? Renee Good and Alex, what's that? Petrie or whatever his name is. They found 2 martyrs, okay? Now, did either one of these people deserve to die? Absolutely not. Neither one of them deserved to die. But did they put themselves in harm's way? Yeah, they did. Were the ICE agents for good? Did he have to shoot? No, he didn't. No, in my opinion, he didn't have to shoot her, but he did. But she gave him enough out that I don't think anything's going to happen to him. Whether it should or not is above my pay grade. She did hit him with the car, but he got out of the way. And whatever injuries he sustained weren't bad enough for him to have to shoot. The fact that he was able to shoot so clearly and so on aim under that kind of duress kind of said he wasn't in that much trouble, but she put herself in that situation. And it turns out her backstory is that she's a paid agitator, or she was. She was traveling around the country doing this kind of stuff, from what I hear. Same with this guy, Alex. I don't say the same. Did he have a right to carry his gun? Absolutely. They have a right to carry law in Minnesota. But just like you can't carry your gun in the courtroom, even though there's a Second Amendment right to have one, I think it's not prudent to carry your gun into a skirmish with ICE agents. Did he deserve to get shot? Did 4 ICE agents couldn't subdue the guy, or 5? And the guy who got his gun, was he negligent for not saying, I got his gun? I think he was. I think he should have said, hey, I got his gun. This guy's just an asshole squirming on the floor, and nobody had to shoot. But there was video that the guy who pulled out his gun fired around into the ground. It seemed like that was true. And any bullet going off in that vicinity, all the other ICE agents could have thought it was coming from the guy on the ground. So we'll see what the investigation says. But these 2 people are now being used by the radical left and the mayor and the governor, the compromised mayor, by the way, and the governor, the Manchurian candidate, to bolster the ideology of, we want to keep as many illegals in our town as possible, and we don't care how many of our citizens die to do it. That's my opinion. They'll feed and put batteries in the back of as many liberals as they possibly can to try to keep the government out. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. And and this is my opinion. That's what I see going on. Because I try to relate all of this to how we would treat regular cops. If we had regular cops trying to make an arrest, how many times do we see videos where these guys screaming everybody, you better not come in here, get out of here. You can't try to aid some of the guys I'm putting on the ground. You can't interject yourself into their arrest, whether you have a gun or not. So what makes you think that's different with ICE, who don't run on the same rules as a local law enforcement agency? So there you have it. 2 people who needlessly died because they had batteries in their back to try to think that they're bigger than the law and they can interfere with regular law enforcement operations. So whether they're ICE agents, were complicit, that's what the investigations have to come up with. That's what that has to do. So we'll just go from there on that one. And you guys can put it in the chat whether you agree or not. If you don't want to come up and talk about that, we can. This is all my opinion. All I do know, and I know I'm 100% right about this, if the mayor and that idiot governor would cooperate with the federal government and allow the ICE agents to work with the local law enforcement, none of this shit would happen. None of it. I'll stand 10 toes down on that one. Okay, so we could talk about that all we want. So, I mean, that's all I have to say about that. These people didn't have to lose their life. They really didn't. So, I was on a podcast the other day with DJ Hemp. And, this kind of conversation came up as to whether we thought about the Second Amendment, whether we thought that this guy was in the right or wrong, did he deserve to die, and all that. And I'm going to play my answer to that, and you could go to his channel later on and see the whole whatchamacallit. But all I can say is we had a good conversation because none of us got to the point where we were yelling and screaming at each other because we had people in opposition. But it was a good conversation. Everybody knows that DJ Hamp knows how to facilitate, and he wouldn't let shit get out of hand. But we weren't even going. It was just men talking. And it was refreshing to have a conversation where we had people on different sides and we weren't at each other's throats getting personal. There was some personal bobs, but there were nothing to get too over crazy about. So here it is. I want to play a little bit of that while we go. So I'm going to just breeze through some of this, and guys, and let me see if anybody thank you guys for coming in. What's that, Bruce? What's that, Scott? All right. A couple other folks. Yeah, what's going on? Just hang out, man. You look at the title, what we're talking about, So what else is there to talk about other than what's going on? So let's go to the clip of where we were talking on Ham's channel. Let me get it to the right spot. Just bear with me for a second while I do that, and then we'll get it started. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to speed this up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get it started from here. Bear with me. Let me go ahead and share that.
If I'm trying to say what would I do playing Monday morning quarterback, which is unfair because the man is dead, Let me get Mr. Payne in. We'll circle it back around, man. There's a lot of strong opinions in the chat. The link is open, man. I know that camera be spooky. I know, but you'll be all right.
Hey, what's
Mr.
going
Payne,
on?
what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on, Hemp? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, gentlemen, what's going on? Hey, listen, man, I got a whole different take on this. First of all, the investigation has to ensue. I do believe that the federal government should let some state actors be actively in the investigation. Mm-hmm. Listen, we can't. This shit didn't happen in a vacuum. The people of Minnesota have been openly violent against ICE. So when you see a man walking up to you armed, you're already hyped up. And one of the things that nobody wants to talk about because the conservative messaging stinks. If the mayor and the governor would allow ICE to work with the police or would allow their police force to work with ICE, with those detainers, all this shit would go away. Because they would be able to get the people they want from the jail cells, from the courtrooms, from places of safety. And two men can go get that criminal as opposed to putting thousands or hundreds of thousands, not hundreds, but thousands of cops out there to get one man because they got to fight with the citizenry to get to their targets. So does this guy deserve to die? Well, let the investigation do it. But if you listen, if you're a gun carrier legally, you're walking up to armed men with a gun on in this kind of environment. And tend to expect them to think that you're not a nefarious actor. It's nonsensical. And so, did he deserve to die? I mean, let the investigation come out with that one. But but
what you think?
These guys being hyped up.
What you think?
But let me get to the main point.
First, let me ask you what you think.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What you think? Did he deserve to die?
No, I didn't say that.
I'm asking.
No, he didn't. I'm not going to say the man deserved to die. He deserved to be a person who should be responsible carrying a firearm in opposition to ICE agents who are already hyped up.
Okay.
It's like me going, if I'm a Crip and I'm walking, and I'm in opposition to the Bloods and I'm walking in their territory fully armed, what are they going to expect?
Okay. So play stupid games sentiment. Now, what was the main point you were trying to make?
The main point is, I'm telling you, all this goes away if the mayor and a governor stop talking that bullshit and let the police and ICE work together so they can get the worst of the worst illegal immigrants out of the country. And we got parallels. We remember when CIA and FBI couldn't work together and the World Trade Centers fell. Do you think, and now we have two police organizations being disjointed by ideology, and who knows who's being released into this country? They ain't all just murderers and rapists. Some of these people could be terrorists. And we're going to miss them because we're not cooperating in the blue states. And there's another parallel. The blue states are in open opposition to the federal government. The only last time that happened, we were in civil war. This is crazy. And I think all this propaganda is bullshit, man. It's a simple solution to this. It really is.
Okay, now let me ask you. This will be quick, Rockstar. Do you see this as like a equivalent, like Bloods and Crips, or that was just a loose analogy?
That's a loose analogy.
Okay, but the citizens that are in opposition and therefore exercising their right to protest, how do you see them though?
Well, no. Exercising your right to protest.
No, but how do you see them though? Like these people in Minneapolis, like do you see them as agitated?
They're not a monolith. There's people who are really protesting, and there's people who are in violent opposition. It's not just, these are not peaceful protests.
Okay. Is it the majority that are peaceful in your opinion, based on the videos you referenced? Are the majority?
You can just turn on YouTube. If you stand in front of a ICE car going or coming from a scene, that's obstruction of justice. And they've been too lenient. They should have been busting their heads and throwing their asses in jail just for standing in front of a car. So and they're too lenient. So now it's kind of built up. But I'm saying all that stuff is so unnecessary because the leadership is using their citizenry as pawns to prove a political point. And it's working. Yep, that's the end of that one. So you guys see where I'm coming from on that one. All right. There was a question. There was a statement here. It said his gun was holstered. All right. So yeah, his gun was holstered. Okay, great. He had, like I said, he had the right to carry his gun. He had the right to protest with his gun. But just having the right to carry and have your gun doesn't give you carte blanche to do everything in every situation. For example, the guy can't go into a courtroom with his gun. Can't go into a federal building with his gun. I don't think he could go into a school or in a classroom with his gun, right? So you cannot interfere and get in the way of ICE agents doing their duty physically with a gun. Now, he didn't physically jump on an ICE agent, but when the ICE agents was trying to detain this one lady that they were pepper spraying the hell out of, he went over and got inside in the way of the agents, fully armed, right? And he could say, oh, he was trying to help her, but you can't help her. He couldn't help her because he's in the way. Just like if somebody saw a cop subduing a criminal and it looked a little rough that he was subduing or they were subduing this criminal, you can't go in there and start pulling the freaking cops off or getting in the way and covering the criminals so they don't get hurt anymore. You can't do that. Oh, you can do it, but you'll face consequences. So if you have a gun and you go into what these guys are on edge anyway, with thousands of people blowing whistles and throwing them and calling them mother and everything out of God, and you come up with them and you are in opposition to them and you have a gun on, this shit is already a volatile situation. And now you're tussling and you have a gun on. Whether you pulled it out or not, it's at a different level already. That's my opinion. You could say you think it's different, but if you honestly look at it from a non-jaundiced eye, if he was unarmed, he wouldn't have got shot. If he was unarmed, if he didn't have a gun, he wouldn't have got shot. In my opinion, so it's a bad situation. So I'll give you that. Nobody wants to see people die. I certainly don't. Okay. So what else do we have going on here? One of the things I want to be fair about is that I think the Republicans have made a lot of mistakes in this situation, both from messaging and their actions. I think their message was wrong from the beginning. We know that not wrong, but the way they said their message, when they said they're going to get the worst of the worst illegal aliens out of the country, what they really probably should have said is based on the law that if you're in this country and you're out of compliance with our immigration laws, if we catch you, you're subject to deportation. That's what they should have said. They should have let it be known that, yeah, they might want the worst of the worst, but anybody, anybody, your grandmother, your niece, your uncle, your father, and anybody who's in this country and you're out of compliance with our immigration laws is subject to deportation. That was the only message. And you can just caveat that message by saying, we're looking for the worst of the worst. And we're looking for the police, local police, that when they catch these guys, first ask them whether they're here legally or not. Do you know that there's police force in the blue states that are not allowed to even ask a murderer, a rapist, a child molester, anybody? They're not even allowed to ask them whether they're legal, they're in this country legally or not. They're not even allowed to ask them that. Why? There's so many, listen, if we leave this country up to the liberals, we're all going to die. We are. Especially like those white lady liberals, we're all going to die. Our country will be going into toot sweet. There's the way they vote and the things they believe in. I think that if they were in charge, we'd have a bull-nose ring president before it's all over. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Anyway, so their messaging was wrong. The Republican messaging was wrong. Period. They should have told it like it is. They shouldn't have tried to soft shoe it and tell the world they're only going after the worst. Right? There's no statute of limitations on being here illegally. And this whole notion that you're separating, parents from their children. If that goes for every level of law enforcement. The jail is full of parents separated from their kids. Every jail, federal jail, local jail, everyone. We can't leave criminals on the street just because they have children. And so we can't leave people in this country illegally just because they have children. And by the way, the birthright citizenship is at the Supreme Court. And there's a good chance they might ixnay that one. And that's another one that the Chinese took advantage of on the backs of blacks, right? Because the 14th Amendment belongs to us. And they never said thank you. You know what I'm saying? You know, they never said thank you to us. Everybody, everybody who has civil rights in this country, they did it on our backs. And that's why they want us to get involved in this immigrating shit, man. You know, if immigration continues to go unfettered or did continue, guess who's going to get hurt first? Guess who that bastard in Chicago mayor hurt the most with his unfettered immigration and the money he spent? Guess who's getting hurt the most? Yeah, your black ass. That's right. You know, when those so-called beloved Democrat liberals that you fucking guys love so much and vote for all the time, yeah, every time they get a chance, they give you a banana right up your fucking tailpipe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and you don't have to live 100 years to figure that shit out. You know, so here's another one. That flood of illegal aliens was in direct replacement of your black ass. You know what I'm saying? It's just as simple as that. You know, and we're sitting down here equivocating as to who we should be supporting because we hate Donald Trump and he's a racist. You know, I mean, if you lived through slavery, the most severe form of racism, your parent, your great grandparents, they survived enough to have kids, and somehow your black ass is here now. I think we defeated the worst of the racism. It's still out there, but somehow we're thriving. We got more black millionaires in this country than we have anywhere else in the world. You got a job, you're feeding your family, you can speak English, you could do all kinds of things, just like anybody else. And we own a piece of this country. And guess who has receipts? Black people. More than any lazy white fucking person around here and anybody else. We have built-in historical receipts that this country is as much ours as anybody else. Blood, sweat, and fucking tears. And we're willing to give it up and let some fucking people just come here and just mooch off the system, you know, because we have bleeding hearts. We got to stop being idiots. Anyway, back to the Republicans fucking up, okay? You know, I just say, you know, again, I said about the immigration posture. You want to get the illegals out, no matter who they are and what they did. If they're illegal, they need to be in compliance, so they got to go. The obstruction arrests in the blue states. As soon as, and you know, we all see the videos of this, right? When they say they're peacefully protesting and all this shit. Miss me with that shit. We can't, you know, it's like we can't believe our lying eyes. The very first time one of those liberal assholes stood in front of a ICE agent coming or going from one facility to another, that's obstruction of justice. And they should have been arresting every single one of those guys from the beginning. All the videos should have shown them getting their heads busted in if they wouldn't move, or putting zip ties on them and loaded into a bus and charged federally for obstructing justice, because each one of those caravans are going to an arrest, coming from an arrest. They're on official business. We can't go out and put ourselves in front of cop cars trying to answer a 911 call. And you can't call that a peaceful protest because I'm blocking the road peacefully. Bullshit. You're blocking the road. And the only thing I can't do is run your ugly ass over. But I could arrest you. And that's what the Republicans and Trump should have been doing. And that's why Pam Bondi is a bad AG. And Kristi Noem is one way or the other. Both of them. They should have been arresting people from the beginning. Okay. Now, here's where Kristi Noem made a big mistake, okay? With this guy, Abrego Garcia, that everybody knows, your favorite goddamn illegal alien from Maryland. When they arrested that guy, first of all, he's in this country illegally. But they wanted to prove a point that he was a gang member so bad, they muddied the waters. Because there's no question that he entered the country in 2011 or some shit like that, maybe earlier, illegally. And he's still here illegally. But they wanted to prove a point that he was some Tren de la Vaga and they needed to send him to the worst prison. So the first thing is, by trying to oversell that he's a bad guy, as opposed to just saying, listen, he's here illegally, he has no paperwork, we're going to deport him. Oh, he can't go to El Salvador? We'll send him somewhere else. Everything else was extra. Kind of like what they try to do in the OJ trial, plant blood and shit like that and all that stuff to try to get a conviction or put a lying policeman on the stand when they didn't need to have to do that. All that stupid shit, okay? They should have just kicked his ass out like any other illegal immigrant. Who cares if he was a gang member? That's one. Then they send him to El Salvador. And then they show all you fucking bleeding heart Americans that savage place that they break those men. You can't show Americans that. And so when they show Christy skinny ass Noam's ass up there in front of all these men, half butt naked, in cages, what did they think Americans were going to do? Even a good portion of the independents who voted for Trump said, listen, I'm not MAGA, I'm an independent, so I don't want to see that shit. There's a reason why we don't show executions. We don't even want to see how you butcher a cow for us to get steak. So you're going to show a place like that. The optics were absolutely horrendous. And so you start to lose favor, right? Alligator Alcatraz, all that kind of shit to say, we're big and bad. That's just not good business. So again, so I'm saying there's some mistakes that the Republicans made in messaging and in optics and shit like that, because the real point is we need to eradicate this country of illegal aliens. And I can't even deny that some of the tactics, even though the heart might be in the right place, they may make bad optics. It just does. It's so sometimes, and these guys are, what's the saying? They're educated way beyond their intelligence levels. Some shit should just be plain simple common sense. Okay, so now we got the two shootings. So, and there's more than that. So some are not as popular as these two because it's in Minnesota. And so the Republicans are losing on optics, even though the same people and a lot of Democrats too will still tell you we need to get the illegals out. But when it comes to choosing sides, they're going to choose the sides of the idiots. All right. Okay, so here's another thing. I think the Republicans are making a mistake. And I think this is Pam Bondi. I believe that there's enough evidence that they should at least convene a grand jury to direct it at certain politicians of the blue states, the ones in Chicago, the ones in Massachusetts, and definitely Frey and Walls. They've said enough on TV that I think that they're guilty of sedition, at the very least. And you guys go look up. I did some lives here. Look up what sedition says. And I can say that when they say to people, you have a right to remain silent, and what you say can be used against you in a court of law, that goes for everybody. And they're on record saying some very incendiary things about the federal government and how not to comply. I think they've already committed sedition. And I think they should be under investigation. But I don't think Pam Bondi has the balls or the lady balls to actually follow through. I mean, how many arrests have we seen from her at all? And she couldn't even arrest Don Lemon. You know what I'm saying? And, because she was trying to get a judge to sign off, well, hell with that. Go straight to the grand jury. Find a grand jury, cherry pick a grand jury. They say you could indict a ham sandwich, right? Right. So Don Lemon's a ham sandwich, and indict that prick. Find a way to do it. He was in the house of God. Let me tell you, he would have never did that to a mosque. He would have never did that to a synagogue. And he might have never been able to do that shit to a black church. Not in my neighborhood. He would have never, if those people went into some of the Baptist churches with some of the guys in there, they would have got their asses beat. And you know what? With me, wait a minute. Are you saying for what? Did you see what Don Lemon did? Come on. And so the FACE Act is clear. The KKK Act, I think that's stupid, but the FACE Act is clear. You can't disrupt a service. And he can't use the journalist shit because he was outside plotting with these pricks. And they got him on tape. Everybody keeps forgetting this video. So Pam Bondi is not doing a good job of arresting and charging the people that she should charge. And then when she gets a chance to charge somebody, she puts a fraudulent prosecutor in the place of somebody who with no credentials or without the proper credential, and she loses the case before it even starts. The one with Bigfoot person from New York, James, Big Back. Because she's guilty of allegedly of doing some of the same things she convicted Trump of doing with the real estate. So if your shit ain't pristine, you're not supposed to throw no goddamn rocks. So it's another mistake that the Republicans have. They got a bad AG. Oh, of course. Now, and the Republicans lead the Senate, but they can't get none of their appointees through because they allow one senator who objects to an appointee, then that guy doesn't get confirmed. It's not even a rule. They're doing it like on a buddy system. Hey, wake up, knock, knock. The Democrats are not your buddy. They're not gonna confirm anybody you want to put up there because they know that person's going to be against them. So you shouldn't be doing any deals where you're not, confirming some of your people because of the Democrats. It's stupid. And they should get rid of the filibuster while they have a chance. So, it's a lot of dumb shit. All right, so I just wanted to say that's my little foray into saying I'm not all in with what the Republican. I'm not even a Republican. I'm still a registered Democrat, by the way. So I'm just saying that I see some flaws on both sides. Well, the flaws I see on the Republican side makes me mad because they're blowing it. We have an opportunity to save this country from people who want anything to go. And they're blowing it. They're absolutely blowing it. And that's what upsets me. Look, Trump is a sideline to all of this because he's going to be gone in 3 years. It's what happens after that. And his power might be gone at the midterms. Not all of it, but enough of it. Because then we're going to spend his last 2 years with the Democrats wanting to impeach him for farting. All right. So let's move on to my next thing. And this is all because Minnesota is the nexus of a lot of things, making us realize that the opposition against the federal government is not just benign. It's actually now it's deadly. It's causing lives. It's hurting people. It's hurting citizens. And it potentially is letting the worst of the worst go, right? Because if I was a illegal alien, a spy, somebody who hates America, guess where I would hide? I wouldn't hide in the red state. I'd hide in a sanctuary city. I would hide in a sanctuary city. You know what I'm saying? So I would hide in a sanctuary city. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Lemon. I don't know anybody who could try to defend Don Lemon. It's crazy. Anyway, so we got something else we need to talk about. Okay. And I appreciate everybody in the chat and this and everybody else coming up and stuff like that. And if you have something to say, I didn't drop the link, but I will, just in case anybody wants to come up. I should have dropped it a while ago because I don't have as many videos. I do have one big one, but I don't have many video clips like I used to. Not for this one, because I didn't plan on. We was dug out today. I wanted to kind of keep this light and kind of fast and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing that I really, another one that I really hope Black people don't fall for. Okay, this is what I hope. I hope we don't fall for this bullshit. Let me go back. This is the what am I doing? I hope we don't fall for this. Okay. This one, the new Black Panther Party, where this non-Black guy is trying to speak for the Black Panthers. And say to yourself before you guys fall for this, just like Black people, we fall for all kinds of bullshit. And let me just kind of segue. Aren't you tired of being used? Aren't we tired of being? We try to tout ourselves as the coolest people. We know street. We know when people are using us. We don't. We ain't no sucker and all this other bullshit. But how come every time when white people want you fucking guys to jump, they could just say anything, do anything, have a motherfucker come appear out of nowhere and say he's a Black Panther and we should follow this motherfucker off the a cliff and put ourselves in the way of Somalians or any fucking illegal aliens who are trying to replace us, as a voting bloc in this country. And do you think they'll be thinking about your Black ass? No. This guy is a fraud. I don't know him, but he's a fraud. And if the Black Panther Party was to reemerge, why would they come in and say we should put Black faces on the front line so we could be fighting against ICE? These guys didn't come out when those sisters were being killed by the illegal aliens. Not one. We haven't heard from them or BLM. Right? So now we're supposed to put ourselves on the line for some fucking guys who don't give a shit about us. You know what I'm saying? You got to be kidding me. What's going on, man? You on camera? You ain't on camera.
You talking to me, Mr. Payne? You want me to get on camera?
Yeah, you're supposed to be on camera, brother.
Oh, man.
Wait a minute. Come on.
What's going on, Mr. Payne?
Well, what's going on with you?
So the thing, I just don't know why you be bragging on the blue states, man. What is going on with you in these blue states?
The blue states are in open opposition to the federal government because they don't allow ICE. Most of them, but there's some exceptions. They don't allow ICE. They don't allow their local police forces to coordinate with ICE to get their criminals out without all this consternation. And Minnesota's the extreme case. Chicago's close. LA's close too. That's what Mayor Bass was doing. That's why we had all that disruption down there, because she wouldn't let her police force work with ICE to get the worst of the worst out. And I don't care if 13 or 14% of the people down there are illegal. That's not my problem. They should all go. They should all go.
Okay.
That's my point. You asked me. I'm telling you why. I'm telling you that's my
right. I understand you on that, but it's not the states. It's the people, Mr. Payne. Come on,
no,
it's not.
What you mean by that? What you mean by that?
So if you come to Las Vegas, right? You come to Las Vegas. Is Las Vegas red or blue?
I don't know.
Right, exactly. But our people here, right? We just don't take kindly to bullshit. We are open carry state. If you walk into Walmart, you're gonna see people with guns on their hips. Only place you can't go with a gun is into a casino or a school, right?
So
But other than that,
okay, but you're moving the conversation, because I don't. This is not about open carry. What I'm talking about is
no,
I don't have any issue with open carry law.
no. What I'm saying is we're basically a red state.
Okay.
But we, the people here, not me particularly, because I don't give a damn about the Mexicans and them being here. If they came here illegally, maybe they should go. But I don't have a problem with it. I'm from LA. I live in Vegas. I don't have a problem with it. A Mexican person has never took my job. A Mexican person has never did anything to anybody I know black in a harmful way. They haven't.
Well, no. Well, let's stick with that. Just because they haven't done anything to you or anybody black doesn't mean they get the chance. They're allowed to break the law. You know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, why are we saying these things? I'm not saying they harmed us purposely. We're Americans. If anybody's in this country illegally, it impacts us. It impacts all of us, even to various degrees. Now, whether some people care or not, that's a different matter. You just told me you don't care, but there's a lot of people who do. And the second part of that is all this would be invisible to us if ICE was allowed to work with local law enforcement to do this shit behind the scenes. Right?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. You care more about the country or you care more about yourself?
I don't disassociate myself from the country. If the country falls, I'm fucked.
Okay, so this is my premise on that, right?
Okay.
Looking at us, me and you, you are the top of Gen X. No,
man.
Right.
I'm a baby boomer.
You right at the end of baby boomer.
That's right.
Right.
6 years, 6 to 8 years at the end. 6 years.
Right. So you're right at the end, and I'm up in the Gen X, right?
Right.
So is your generation, and then it was my generation.
Right.
What I see, you're talking about the last thing what you said kind of really made me come on is the replacement of us. There is no more black community, Uncle Payne.
Oh, I can agree with you there. I can agree with you there.
So then you know what? We need a fresh. I care about the country. We need a group of fresh people to come in. Our women, you know, because of the way how nice we've been to them, and you know, we learned from you guys, and the other guys have learned from us how nice we've been to them. Our community is now fragmented, and we are at the point of no return.
All right.
We need a new crop of citizens.
Okay.
We need a new crop of citizens.
I hear you. So let me respond to that. In order for that to really be something we can hang our hat on, two things have to happen. One, the new crop of people coming in here have to have some allegiance to the new country. I don't see that. That's one. And the allegiance. And two, they have to be assimilated into American culture. That's another thing that's not happening. You know, so those two things will be missing. And a lot of these new people don't give a shit about black people. We could take any group of people. Not that if you individually have a good relationship with other people, that's not what I'm talking about. You know, I have enough clips. I have a clip of an imam that's from Somalia, and he has a whole congregation of black Africans. Only thing he's talking about is how fucked up we are. This guy's here in America. They're not our friends. You know, nobody picks up our causes. We pick up everybody else's causes, but
I agree with you. I
All
agree
right.
with you,
Okay.
but we no longer have families, Uncle Payne. We
No, I
don't
agree
have
with
families
you.
anymore. So if you agree with me on that point, you
But
have it's just like the music, right? Your
okay.
daughter hates your daughter hates jazz, right? I hate jazz.
My daughter
It
doesn't hate
has
jazz.
changed.
My daughter doesn't hate jazz.
She will
See,
tolerate it like I tolerated when
yeah,
my
she
dad
doesn't
played.
tolerate. It's not at the top of her list, probably. I could think.
Exactly. So we fucking hate it, is what I'm saying. We will tolerate it. We will tolerate it. When my dad played jazz, I tolerated it. When I had to go to my uncle's house, my uncle was a jazz musician. When I went to his house, I tolerated that shit. But it's just like squash. I'll never eat squash. I would have to
Oh,
starve.
man, I love
But
squash.
exactly, because things have changed, because
No,
we are different
I know
people
some
now.
young people. I know young people who love squash too. But I hear what you're saying. Let me ask you
Yeah.
a question
Well,
on the topic.
you had to eat grits too. I won't eat fucking grits.
Just you know what? But I know some. My kids love fucking grits.
No,
You
no,
know?
they tolerate it. If
No,
you ask your daughters,
that's
I'm trying to tell you,
no,
we don't like that shit, Mr.
no,
Payne.
some of y'all don't. I'm just telling you, we can't make a blanket statement like that. Especially my daughters now that
Okay.
they're grown. If they don't like something, I can't force them to eat it. I can tell you that. But
Exactly.
okay, and
Exactly.
that's why I know that they don't have no problem with it. But here's what I want to say to you. What do you think about the fake Black Panthers coming up?
Um, well, I don't think that they're fake. I think that the problem is things have changed. It's like rap music, right? I can't listen to rap music anymore because of the artists, right? And the
Okay.
music, it changed from LL Cool J, I'm bad, to Little Wayne with his pants hanging down on stage. It's changed into something else. So I can't stomach it anymore, right? And all of these new rappers, NBA YoungBoy and all of them, it's no longer music to me. They have degraded the level of music. So the new Black Panthers, the focus and the vision of the actual thing has changed, and we have to accept and expect that over time that things will change. And us old guys, it's just like we don't like the Democrats because they want to have these trannies, and they want to, just like you said, they want to let everybody do everything, and they want everything to be okay. And we don't like that. But Mr. Payne, we have more years behind us than we got in front of us. It's no longer our world. We
Listen,
we 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 can't say shit.
no, well, hold on now. Hold on. First of all, I agree that we have less in front of us, but what kind of, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't because everything that we did in the past is not bad. Some of that stuff is going to propagate into the future because some things have a quicker ending than the rest. If America falls, and it may, because there are conservative young people, by the way, but if America falls into this liberal soup that everything goes, we don't have no borders, and we're going to let people come in and just do their own thing, and you don't have to be a citizen, but you should have all access to everything we have, this country is finished. We're going to have men in dresses in the fucking like they were in leading our soldiers. The Chinese have no such bullshit going on. Nobody, and even though we're not going to fight like that, the rot from within is going to kill our country. And so the notion that we should stop talking, because here's what I would agree with: we should never have a president that's 80 something years old again. I don't think the president should be over 70 or 60. Should be young. Should be a younger person. So, but as long as we're still alive, we should keep expressing what we think. Now, some conversations I don't get involved with, like dating. I don't talk about that shit because it's a completely different thing than when I was here. But if somebody asks me how to be in a good marriage, I could tell them that. So, but the point really is, I hear what you're saying, so I don't disagree. So I'm not dictating how people should act. I just want to let them know that there's
let
different
me
mindsets out there. Wait a minute, I want to let them know that there's different mindsets, and it might be age related, but it ain't all bad. And some people might adopt that way of thinking, even though it's for the future. They're gonna shape the future. You gotta, you had guidance. That's what are you saying that the guidance of elders is no longer good because we're old? That's crazy. That goes against
no, it's not valid. It's not valid.
No, I disagree. Some of it might
I,
not
I,
be.
I know you disagree, but it's not valid because
No,
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why it's not valid. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why it's not valid. Because where I'm at in Gen X, right? I'm in my early 50s, right? I'm in my 50s.
Yeah.
Everything has changed. You used to be able. Women didn't used to say that they wanted a man that was over 6 feet and made $100,000. You know what I mean? So that for one has changed, right? And that is the main thing, because without families, there is no community. Without communities, there is no country. You know what you're talking about, more conservative and more family oriented, are those Somalians and those other people, those Mexicans, everybody else but Black Americans.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Every other race but Black Americans are much more conservative, and that's what you want. It's unfortunately,
no.
I don't like it, but it's.
We want that they're concerned, but they're not. If they don't want to perpetuate America, they're not doing us any good. Listen, if I have a great intact family, and I'm Somali, these fucking people don't give a shit about America. They don't. They're just using this people. You know what? You're segueing a little bit off my thing, but this is one of the problems we have. For you to say that. Any elder, not just me, let's take it from ourselves. Well, anything they have to say because we're in a new time is invalidated. It's kind of diabolical. That goes against every philosophy in nature. So for Black people, because times have changed, anybody with any wisdom, if you're older than 30, your shit don't count. It's crazy.
I didn't say 30, but I think the cutoff age.
Older age, that's just not true. Unless if the person's talking gibberish and trying to say, well, I want to bring you back to the dark ages, then that's one thing. But we don't, when I see a young person talking about, and I want to move back onto what I'm talking about, but if I see a young person talking about how the white man is holding them down and all this shit, and I'm saying, what the fuck are you talking about? How is a white man holding you down? Most of these people haven't had real face-to-face racism in their whole life. You know why? Because they're thinking about the past, right? And not the
I
old
agree
past.
with you.
They're thinking about slavery and all that shit. And so they have albatrosses around their neck. So sometimes they need an old person to say, take that shit off your neck and look towards the
what?
Yeah, well, no, hold on.
What? It's not the same.
What do you mean it's not
Mr.
the same?
Payne, because when my nephews come to my house and they have their white friends with them and they put on Lil Baby or the Baby or Baby Bop or whatever, all of them is that nigga doing. Come on, stop. Boys are saying the N word. I know she keeps calling, but so what I'm saying is it's different because I wouldn't have allowed my white friends when I was young to use the N word. The things we say.
You're talking about eaches, man. That doesn't change the basic macro philosophy of what I'm saying. I hear you. We don't relate on a lot of levels with the young people for what they do. But to me, for them to not have anybody to want to impart some wisdom on it, whether they accept it or not, that's a mistake. That's a mistake.
It's not a mistake.
It's a mistake by the elders.
We are dinosaurs.
No, it's a
We are
mistake.
dinosaurs.
Yeah, well, the dinosaurs' fossils still gave people insight. You know, so you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're trying to dictate how they live,
What?
let me say
Hey,
this.
Mr. Payne, I got it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
What you saying? What you saying?
to go through a dead zone, but I just, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Payne, but
You just don't agree.
unfortunately, huh? Yeah,
You just don't agree.
I just don't agree. The blue states are the best states. We have all the money in the blue states. We have all the best schools in the blue states. You
Yeah.
never hear but we do have our bad parts, just like the red states got all of the dumb people. They got all of those towns where they say people are having sex with their sisters, like the Duke boys. So, everybody got their good and bad, but I'm gonna go ahead and jump off and see what this heifer wants, because she keep on calling me, brother. I'll be listening.
Yo, man, take it easy, man. When you get back, if you come back, we'll straighten you out when you get back. Anyway, listen, man. Any of you old farts out there, don't listen to them. You're not useful just because you're an old fart. You might be an old fart, but you're not useless. You know what I'm saying? You can tell young people shit. Some of them listen, most of them won't, but that's fine. They just need to hear it sometimes like that. So like I said, I wouldn't tell them how to date, but I could tell them how to be married, so that kind of stuff. There's always wisdom to impart. And no matter what age it is or where we were in life, the silent generation was saying the same shit. People didn't listen to them. The greatest generation of young people didn't listen to them. They say that shit all the time. The fucking Gen Alphas and the Gen Z and the millennials, they need fucking people to talk to them, and they can do it as they will, and they can shape the future, but they need guidance. And if they accept it, that's great. If they don't, it's on them. Anyway, again, I had some questions for everybody since you guys are in the chat. One of the things that we should ask ourselves about this immigration issue, and too bad, Black America left on this one. The first question I would have, or a statement, is, should we be standing with illegals? Right? I mean, it's a yes or no, right? Is this Black America's fight? And it depends on the standpoint of how you're looking at the question, right? Is this Black America's fight? This whole fucking immigration thing. So it depends on where you stand, right? Should we be standing with illegal aliens? Yes or no? Should we as Black people be putting our fucking bodies and our security and all this shit on the line for illegal aliens? Just like some Black women put everything on there for transvestites and gays and all that shit. Should we be putting ourselves on the line for illegal aliens? Disrupting ICE, jumping in, all this other shit. Should we be doing that? And the answer is hell no. We shouldn't be doing that. Should we be standing against law enforcement, for illegals, or for anybody for that matter? Should we be interjecting ourselves in front of all these people for anybody? Should we be out there blowing whistles and doing all this stupid shit for against ICE? Why? Why should we do that? Should we support this charade of the new Black Panther Party, calling for us while they're grifting money from some unknown source to go out there with guns and rifles trying to protect some fucking illegal aliens when none of these people said a goddamn thing about the sisters being killed by illegals? The answer is hell no. The answer is no. And then ask yourself, why is white America so hell-bent on getting Blacks to put their lives on the line for this bullshit? Why? Why? Right? We're fighting for our replacements. We need them because they have intact families that's not going to benefit us. It's not even going to teach us how to rebuild intact families. Because, hey, man, the rift between black and white, black Americans, male and female, the bifurcation of communities, you know, the Holcomb, Anton Daniels fight tells you all you need to know. This shit ain't coming back. And flooding the country with illegals is not going to save us. You know, whatever Black America was saying, that's just not going to benefit us at all. You know, at all. So I tell you what. So, like I said, we got some real big issues, and Minnesota is the nexus of what could spread to other blue states. And Black America, blue states are the hub of all shit that's demonic at the lower levels. Those are the states with those great schools are teaching your kids about their sexuality of being gay and read gay books. And Bradley has 2 fathers, right? Those are the states that's pushing, you know, child mutilation, sexual mutilation, and calling it gender affirming care. Those are the states that champion that. Those are the states that have the vast majority of baby deletions, demonic worship of babies to their God. Yeah, so the blue states, they got money, but a lot of them don't have no soul in the way they vote. You know, especially at the lower levels, they're taking the parents out of the classroom. The parents no longer have say over their children. Hey, just in California, they passed SB something where prostitution and street walking is legal now. And people are hooking up in some of the best neighborhoods and banging each other in cars, leaving their condoms all around the place. That's your blue state. You know, so they got money, but in worship to who? That's your blue state where a whole gang of assholes, you know, raid a church who's in mass. So, you know, stop it, man. But law and order doesn't mean anything, right? They got those, you know, cashless bail laws, and they're just letting people out to prey upon the weakest. You know, listen, you know. Anyway, there you go. So I'm going to go ahead and segue to my guy that I like to listen to. And he got a little short clip of how he sees what's going on. And then we're going to end with another short clip. I don't know if I'm going to show all of this guy's clip, but he's always a good listen to because the way he puts it. And here's my man, Brandon Lehman, and I'm going to play him for you guys.
The situation in Minneapolis is on the verge of exploding after a fatal shooting by Border Patrol. Please make sure you guys hit the like button. I don't know if YouTube will suppress this video or not, but Minneapolis is in the midst of a full-blown insurrection. We're going to talk about why this is all happening because it actually has little to do with immigration. It's a much broader, more nefarious anti-America agenda at work here. And most importantly, we're going to talk about the new details that were exposed that reveal the true scale, organization, and sophistication of this anti-ICE operation. These protesters, if you can even call them that, are literally working with Minneapolis PD to trace, dox, and obstruct ICE. I'm not kidding. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please watch this one till the end. But let's start with the video from a couple of days ago of Tim Walz encouraging Minnesotans to cause trouble for ICE.
I can't stress enough on this. We're winning it because we're doing it with Minnesota grit, Minnesota humor, Minnesota decency. Yes. Oftentimes talk about this, and I know people are discussing this a lot. I spent a lot of time with John Lewis on nonviolent resistance. The resistance matters. We're not telling people to be silent, but we're not telling people to go out and cause problems. We're going to cause good trouble.
So when you ask yourself the question, why all this chaos is only happening in Minnesota and not the rest of the country, that is the answer. Every single Minnesota politician and every single high-profile Democrat is encouraging this insurrectionist behavior so Minnesota can be their ideological battleground. And as you'll see later in this video, there is secret coordination with the Minneapolis Police Department to facilitate all of this chaos. ICE is conducting operations in all 50 states, but only in Minnesota are you seeing ICE agents being tracked and followed from sunup to sundown and being swarmed by a mob of 60 people every time they conduct an operation. Renee Good was part of this anti-ICE network, and now the second person killed was also revealed to be a part of this network. No law enforcement agency ever has been expected to tolerate this level of harassment, where you have 40 people blowing whistles that are so loud they come with a warning to use earplugs, people physically bum rushing ICE to obstruct apprehensions and detentions, and caravans of cars following them, obstructing, blocking in the middle of the street. This is absolute insanity that no law enforcement agency should have to deal with. This is absolute insanity and so much pressure and tension. No law enforcement agency can be expected to make zero mistakes under these kinds of conditions. Now let's watch a clip of what took place yesterday, and I'm going to cut it right before the fatal shots are fired.
Honestly.
Now, right after that, the first shot is fired. And this is important because all of the agents take a step back and pause for a second. And then 4 more shots are fired subsequently after that. Now, from a different angle, you can see.
Well, let me stop it right there. Hey, Coach. Hey, Coach, what's happening, man? All right, listen, yeah, I hear you. Listen, I don't think that those 4 additional shots should have been shot, but that's another story. What do you think about the situation? Not just that situation, the shooting, but in general, what's going on? You've been listening to some of this.
Yeah, you know that there's people who are actually getting paid almost $60,000 to go around and actually harass ICE agents.
Yes, I do know that. Yes,
so,
I don't know how much, but I know there's paid agitators. Yes.
But think about it. You're getting paid $60,000, and it's more than one in each location. It's probably up to 50, 60, right? Right. Because they at least had to form a big enough mob just to be of any, issue to slow it down. And the fact that they're paying people, right? So it's like they playing in our face. And, listen, man, I guess we want to be victims forever.
No doubt about it. No,
it's unfortunate.
Especially the liberals, man. They're crazy. And let me go ahead and finish a little bit more. So we're going to talk because I just got him and a little bit more. I mean, it's a short one, but I needed to stop it. Let's go.
One of the agents disarmed the man on the ground. And the leading theory at the moment is that agent accidentally discharged the weapon. This happened while multiple agents were yelling, "Gun, gun, gun," implying that the other agents probably assumed that this discharge was coming from the man, which led to the 4 subsequent fatal shots. Let's take a look at this close-up, which shows the agent seemingly discharged the weapon, and you guys can let me know what you think in the comments.
So he gets the gun, right? All right. So, see, now a lot of people say these guys are not trained enough, right? To me, him shooting that gun in the ground is a mistake. Right? There's no level, and you could have been trained, but his adrenaline was going. He had his hand on the trigger. Everybody knows it shouldn't be on the trigger like that. Correct? Can you? So I'm saying that so I agree with Brandon that shot might have triggered those other guys to shoot at the target. You know, but still that means that there was some mistakes made and some accountability has to go along with it, right? You can't, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, talk to me.
This is my law for all slow people, right? I'm gonna change this law in America. All y'all dumbass kids coming out of high school, they must join the service for 2 years, any branch, male or female, right? Because a lot of guys are military trained and they know a weapon. Listen, man.
Good.
If he's so keen on fighting them and he pulls out a weapon and fires the ground, slow people don't realize bullets also ricochet, right?
Right.
Just say he would have shot up and it would have ricocheted off their husband or what, they would be saying, oh, he's guilty, right? But the fact that they had to come and wrestle you, you still had the gun. Then you get a shot off.
No, he didn't shoot. That was the eight.
The ISIS shot. Who shot the 4 times?
No, well, that's after they heard the gunshot.
Right. Who shot the gun?
The ICE agent.
No, who shot the gun before they heard the gun? The gunshot that they heard.
The ICE. If you look at this, the ICE agent got the gun away from the guy.
Right.
And while the ICE agent was moving out of harm's way, he pulled the trigger. He let off a shot into the ground.
So they heard a gunshot, right?
Yeah, but it was by the ICE agent.
No, what I'm saying, who's the only? It was how many shots was fired? 5 shots in total, right?
It was like, I think it was more than that. But what are you trying to say? The guy who got shot didn't shoot anybody.
Right. But who was on the ground? Was he wrestling with a gun? They took the gun away from him, right?
They took the gun away from him. And the guy who got the gun accidentally fired around into the ground.
Right.
And when the rest of the agents heard the shot, they didn't know. They said, oh, shit, this guy must still have the gun. So that's what I'm saying.
So that's negligence. That's negligence. Yeah, that can be considered negligence.
Yeah, man.
You know, but again, they have full federal authority. Niggas, when you see them coming, get out the way. Take your little slow baby, go get in the house, let them do what they gonna do to these folks. So your kid who's 17, sit around your house, eating up all the snacks, ain't doing shit with their life, can get a job. He get a real job.
So that's exactly where I'm coming from, right? Unfortunately, this guy gave up his life because he shouldn't have been there in the first place. Not in that capacity. Not in that capacity.
Wasn't he in the medical field?
Yeah. To me, that's irrelevant. Right?
No, it's not. You have a high account. Reason why it's not irrelevant to me, because he has a position, he has a job and a career already set that he can sit. He's getting in issues that has nothing to do with him.
That's why it's irrelevant.
He's doing all it. But again, this is what I'm saying. Those are positions Black folk need to be trying to get into. It's an opportunity. Yeah, I'm just saying, it doesn't make any sense.
He wasn't Black, but the point really is, it's irrelevant.
No, just to get into the job, I don't understand it.
No, what I'm saying is the job is a different thing of what we're talking about. I don't care what the profession is.
But you're a career-minded person and you're getting in affairs that jeopardize. To me, I look at it from I see what you're saying, but it just makes sense.
Okay, no sense. Kirk, I see what you're saying, but it's irrelevant because if he was a nuclear physicist and did that, he still would be a jackass.
Yeah, that would be stupid.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So it's irrelevant. If he was a bum or he had a right to carry the gun, but he wasn't being smart because you shouldn't carry a loaded weapon and put yourself in the middle of a law enforcement.
Not at all. That's dumb as hell.
It's dumb as hell. And so
he was carrying a gun because he didn't want to get fucked with by niggas. That's
we don't know that.
Man, that's what it is. I'll tell you. White folk don't carry guns because they know Black folk and tribe they won't get fucked. Come on, man. I know you Catholic school, man. You can always do.
He's in Minnesota. So he could walk 100 miles without seeing a Black person unless he's in the Somali neighborhood.
No, Minnesota.
That's not true. That's not true.
It's not true. In Minnesota.
Yeah, man. I've been in, listen, I understand. I'm being facetious. The truth of the matter is he ain't afraid of just Black. He wanted to carry a gun.
I know, but we know what
I'm gonna pose this question.
It's irrelevant to the conversation.
No, I'm gonna pose this question. If you are a bystander and the police, this has happened to some of us as Black people in real life, okay? just like the George Floyd thing. When the police are doing their investigation, if you walk up and interfere with those investigations, what is the police going to do? Hold on. But now you have a gun and you are tussling and wrestling with the police. What is going to be your most likely outcome?
I think we all agree with what you just where you're going. There's no argument here. I think
okay. And that's my thing. We can't give this man. I'm sorry, I can't give this man any quarter, right? Even though he was a nurse and he was a nurse at the VA and he was doing a great job and this, that, and the other. But those people, I agree with Coach Bird. Get out their fucking way. We don't have nothing. We don't have nothing to do with what these people are doing because they can't deport us to nowhere. Leave them alone.
They're going to get the people with the handouts over to Greenland. Everybody over there begging for welfare. They're going to have to go over and start over. We'll see how it turns out.
Oh, here's a guy. He says he's a white dude from out there. He says, hey, listen, the truth of the matter is what we see on the media, it looks like it's like everybody's out on the street. I mean, common sense says there's a whole bunch of people minding their business. But they're not. But you know what? You don't need to have a majority to be loud.
Right.
You don't have to have a majority to be loud. And you're saying, well, a lot of these people are being paid. So anyway, let me go ahead a little bit more of my man here.
If this is in fact what happened, then it's extremely unfortunate that this man was fatally shot. Let me be clear, I don't relish in the loss of human life ever. But that's exactly why these protesters intentionally creating a high-tension, chaotic, discombobulating situation is so reckless. And the left will say that's the point, to make the working conditions so impossible that the federal government decides it's not worth enforcing immigration law. And what they're describing is political terrorism and an insurrection. Using violence and lawlessness to assert your political ideology is terrorism. The Democrats who claim to be the protectors and saviors of democracy are completely ignoring and disregarding the democratic process. There were no protests from the Democrat when the borders were open and 15 million people poured into the country. But now that the American people voted to have them removed, Democrats are doing everything possible to prevent that from happening. And we'll talk about why in a little bit. But first, let's discuss the talking point from the left that this man had a constitutional right to carry a gun. And carrying a gun legally to use deadly force explains why this is all clear, unified message that ICE operations
move forward to this, and so we can get to this part.
Need to stop. Let's take a look at a couple because it really explains why this is all happening. It gets to the bigger picture. Governor Kathy Hochul said Secretary Noem offered assistance to New York ahead of the impending snowstorm. I shared that the fastest way to help is for ICE to back off so people feel safe accessing warming centers, shelters, hospitals, and houses of worship. So they don't want FEMA assistance in the midst of a snowstorm. They just want ICE to leave. Tim Walz said, I just spoke with the White House after another horrific shooting by federal agents this morning. Minnesota has had it. This is sickening. The president must end this operation, pull the thousands of violent, untrained officers out of Minnesota now. So not, okay, we'll finally work with the federal government and give you access to arresting migrants in the jails. No, you just need to leave the city entirely. AOC said Americans are being killed in the streets by their government. Our Constitution is being shredded and our rights are dissolving. Resist. Senate Dems should block ICE funding this week. Activate the National Guard. We can and must stop this. So she's just full out calling for an insurrection and possible civil war. And finally, hair gel Gavin Newsom says no new funding. Kristi Noem must resign. Greg Bovino must be fired. Suspend the lawless mass deportation raids nationwide now. ICE is no longer just deporting dangerous criminals. Now, that part of the video. why this is all happening. This isn't happening due to some altruistic humanitarian support of immigration. This chaos in Minnesota is being fomented by Democrat politicians and being allowed to perpetuate because mass migration destabilization is the main weapon used by Antifa, the anarchists, the globalists, the communists to destabilize America and implement communism. You didn't see this level of protest against deportation in Trump's first term, but you see it now. Why? Because the open border mass migration during Joe Biden wasn't just an accidental whoopsie. It was a massive monetary investment by all those parties working against America. Tax money flowed to NGOs to facilitate the migrant crisis. Between federal, state, and local tax dollars being used to home migrants, to feed them, to educate their children, to give them free medical care, we spent probably $500 billion. This was an investment to bolster the population of blue states for apportionment, protect these people with rigorous sanctuary policies, and then give a pathway to citizenship for 30 million people who would be lifelong future Democrat voters. And what you're seeing now is a concerted, coordinated, institutional effort to protect their investment. Don't you ever wonder how a decade...
All right, guys, what do you think about what he just said?
He said a whole lot.
Yeah, I think everything he said was bullshit. Because we know as people, Latinos, those Somalis, all of them, they believe in family. They have core values that us in this country no longer have. It wouldn't be that they would be voting Democrat. They'd be voting Republican.
No, it's not true at all.
I don't think it's true.
That's not true at all. 80%, 90% of the Somalis with their families intact are on welfare.
You're talking welfare. I'm talking about political power.
Wait a minute.
Who would political power go to?
Well, say that again.
I'm talking about political power, Mr. Payne. More white people are on assistance, public assistance than it is black people.
You gotta keep moving the goalposts.
Yeah, they don't
I'm not moving it.
Yes, you are.
Wait a minute. You bring that into it.
But you got hold on now. You brought the white people up. We're talking about immigrants. We're talking about, he said that this was part of the white cabal to get new voters. And that's exactly how it played out in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, if those 80,000 Somalis didn't have their own tribal battle, that guy Omar Sharif, whatever his name is, would have been mayor, and it would have been a bloodless coup in Minneapolis, and the Somalis would have just devastated that place with their own fucking culture and all of that. We know that Somalis, they ain't good fucking country builders. They might have all those things you just said about families and shit, but look at Somalia. They kill each other over anything, man. Their family values didn't mean shit.
Yeah, Somalia's over in Somalia. They over poor.
So can you say the same thing? So can you say the same thing about us as Black Americans?
No.
Hold on, Coach Bird. Hold on, Coach Bird. In the 70s, 80s, and 90s, when we was gang banging, selling drugs, and killing each other hand to foot.
Come on now. Hold on. I'll give you one time period. Like I always been saying, the crack era changed the game. What you talking about? Everything else before that, we was some of the highest in everything. The literacy rate, the family unit, getting married, all of that was still intact during the 70s and early 80s. Yeah, all of that was still intact. Black men were graduating at the highest percentage.
Listen, we were subject to programming after the Civil Rights Bill was signed, and there's a whole bunch of reasons we could point to why the Black community fell apart. But our basic nature was attacked. Once civil rights was signed and Lyndon B. Johnson gave the Black woman a choice of whether they would get welfare or keep a man in the house.
And there you go. And there you go.
They chose to get the man out of the house. And here's my thing. And that wasn't all of them. It was just enough to make a difference. And it's snowballed. But just like
yes,
you said,
and so we agree. I'm glad that we can come to an agreement.
The Somalis coming here won't fix that.
No.
They don't believe in America.
No, they don't. They believe in community.
No. But my man, take that community. Hold up, brother. I get what you're saying, right? Because I'll say this: I'm all American, right? I'm America first. I went to that college. I did everything they said do. I wanted my apple pie. This is where I was born. My mother, father, grandparents. My history go back deep. I'm all over the world, right? But when it comes to America, I believe America, the citizen who should get first dibs on any money, any opportunity for job position should be the black man, black woman, and white America first. I don't believe you can come here 6 months, you open up a store in the same neighborhood that these people been living in, and they still can't get a loan to even fix up grandmama's house. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in going into these jobs, even working a field. Damn it, I can best believe if they had some field job. You know, some of you work in the field because it's technology now. If you got opportunity to make $30 an hour when you was young, I think it's the time for people to start getting opportunity, because the younger folk are just getting dumber. They're getting fatter and dumber. That means because they're not doing a lot of moving around, not a lot of work. So my thing is, but again, we older. In order for this to flip, right, it could be brought back to the family unit. However, we got to get this American chaos out of the way. Because black people right now we're still living in all this movie style fairy tale shit got to go. People got to get out here and work.
The black family unit is dead.
Well, it's dead to us older people, but the younger people, they trying to move a different way.
They don't want to be married, man.
But no, not
Coach.
Man, teenagers, 20-year-olds, they want to be married. See, y'all talking about 45, 35.
No, I'm not.
So your daughters don't want to be married, I'm paying. You have 20-something, none don't want to be married.
I'm not. Listen. They're gonna have to carve out their own way. But the traditional marriage, the way we know it, that's just not coming back.
You ain't got to go to the courts, but people can still do it.
It's not coming back, man.
So people just gonna be having sex.
But that's, I don't think. First of all, no. Listen, we could have a disagreement. It's good to be optimistic, okay? But we got 3 different kind of conversations over there, because with Black America, the fucking Somalis are not going to save us either. They can't even say they're Americans.
I'm not talking about save us. What I'm saying is just like music, things change.
Okay, so
we are relics, huh?
No, forget about us. What does that mean now? What is this immigration policy of flooding our country with people who have these so-called family values and shit, if they don't care about being American?
So I care about the country. That's all I care about. Hold on. I don't care about us being black or white or anything. I care about the country.
Okay.
We need, so what Ferg just said about just having babies and having families, Coach Ferg, our repopulation rate has dropped dramatically, bro.
Bring it home. No, wait, hold on. Bring it home. What you care about the country, and so what does these immigration people? What do these people have that's going to say
the country is going to change demographically, and how it is, like music, like anything else.
I want to know what you mean by demographically.
It don't matter. We're gonna be dead.
Okay,
we all over 50.
Wait, Coach.
We all over 50.
So you're saying no matter what this country looks like, it's okay as long as it won't be America anymore. It
won't be America as we know it. Just like rap music is not rap music as we know it.
Let me ask you. Okay, so listen. No matter if no matter how it goes, yeah, it's going to be different. It could be different. It will be different, but it ain't going to be this great grand experiment. It'll just be a salad bowl of pockets of people in this country that none of them have allegiance to what you call United States of America. When those people in Los Angeles were arguing, they fucking flew Mexican flags, right? When the people in Somalia talk, they have Somali flags up. And when you hear them talk, they talk about being Somali. They're just taking up our land and our tax dollars. The fucking people can't stand it. Ilhan Omar is an enemy of the state. She's the real infiltrator. She shouldn't even be in Congress. You know, so I'm just saying, man, I hear you, and it sounds good that these people have family values, but they don't care about this country.
I understand what you're saying, but what you don't seem to understand is this country is going to change.
I agree.
We can't do a goddamn thing about it. What it is I remember when King Dorothy Jr. used to play baseball, and we had a bunch of black people in baseball and all type of stuff when I was a kid. Now we don't have that. Things in this country have changed, and they're going to keep on changing. We can't do anything about it.
Yes, so that means we shouldn't feel for the future of the country because it's not the way we saw it before. That's not, that's fine if you want to be. I can't control the future, so I don't give a shit what happens to it. I happen to not agree with that. I know I can't, but I do have children. I wish, I do want to have grandchildren coming. I don't now, but there's possibilities. I want them to enjoy an America that they could be proud of, that they can know that has its position in the world where we have some borders, we have some control over our autonomy as a country, and we have some people here who are dedicated to this goddamn country, and not a whole bunch of packets of people who are more beholden to their home country than they are to this one. We won't have an America. America will fall.
I understand. Fall. I understand that. I understand exactly what you're saying, but it's not going to be America. It's not the America that we even know from the 80s, Mr. Payne. It's not the America. It's damn sure not the America from the 70s. Well, it's not even the America from the 2000s. Things are going to change, and
that's not a good argument. You know why it's not a good argument?
What do you mean?
It's not. Well, you know why it's not a good argument, Black America? Because everybody knows that time changes things, man. When America was formed in 1776, it wasn't the same America by 1800s. It wasn't the same America by 1850, right? It went through a whole tremendous amount of changes, but it was still the United States of America. They fought a war to keep the Union together. Yeah. And so, I'm just saying. Hold on, man.
Okay.
Because change is inevitable, not only for people, but for everything. So it's not really a strong argument to say we're going to change. Of course we're going to change. Yeah. America has been changing all along. It changed for Black people from the 60s to now.
From the 1800s.
Look at us. And look at us. We're in fucking complete, absolute destruction as a community.
Not really. Not really. Not really. Not really. I mean, listen, we on the other side of the hill. So, yeah, you can say that, right? Because we don't see that the people coming behind us.
You see a resurgence.
Yes, I see a recalibration of what's needed. Okay. And I think I'll say again, 20s, the 20s have a greater chance, right? The 40s and 35 and 40s, they all suffered. They ain't even experienced civil rights, but they talk about how bad slavery was. It makes no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So only thing I'm saying is this, and yes, Scorch, yes, there's been a shift, right? However, right, the days of handouts in America is over. Those days are over. So if people are not willing to be productive, get out here and get in these positions, either whatever it is, the new age of technology, these service jobs that you can actually provide something, those days are over. Those handout days are over. And even people who are coming over here illegally, they're going to have to be registered just like we are. If they ain't got a real ID, if you've been born and raised in America, you ain't got a real ID by now, you get what you get. They've been talking about for 4 years, and if you're an adult running around with a expired ID, a real ID, they need to go and check you out too, because there's no time to be playing little boy games and little girl games in America no more. So, and I'll just say this and I'll shut up. Listen, we've been talking about how they've been harassing us for 200 years, 400 years. If they trying to get the criminal or somebody stealing resources from your community, out of your community, let them do their job. Don't be trying to be a hero so you can make a name for yourself and you lose your life, leaving behind slow ass Tony, slow ass Renee. No. And I say it with love. It's a time to, again, people are recalibrating, and those that don't, you ain't getting no more welfare, food stamps. You ain't getting no more of that, because they go see if you've been putting in work with your Social Security number. If you ain't been putting in work, they go send you over to Greenland and let you learn how to plant some cabbage on your own. I heard somebody say they don't eat squash. Well, you're going to be eating a whole lot of squash if you ain't putting in work, my man, for sure.
Yeah, I like squash, man. So anyway, yeah. You have something to say about? Are you down, folks? You finished, Coach?
I mean, just the video says a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? And hey, listen, man. Like you said, yeah, I'm on the other side. I'm retired. I ain't got to do a whole lot of work. And now the people who young, you got to get out there and work. Get out the way. We can say they're not trained. A lot of them are military. So if you've been in the military, you know your ass is trained. Unless you was, but most of them, they get out to do that. That's what they want to do. It's very few black people that actually do that, because black people, we ain't really the leaders by nature. We can't have that type of cynical mindset. So when we see other people doing it, it's like, oh man, how they do that here? Man, listen, carry your weapon, whatever the law is in your state. But when the folk doing their job, you ain't hiding nobody. Get out the way.
All right. So, Black America, you had something else you want to say? Because I don't think we completely disagree about the change. I just think that
I agree with. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what you got to say? Go ahead, because I want to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with Coach Bird. I told you, I don't give a damn about them people. I don't care, black, white, indifferent, whatever country you from. If you don't belong here, and what America needs to do is they need to say, hey, this is now a felony. If you come in this country illegally, it is a felony. It's not just something, not no misdemeanor, not a civil infraction. What they need to do is classify it as a felony so people actually know that, hey, every time it's an illegal person that come over, it's a super bad thing, and they need to be handled according to the law. I agree with Coach Bird.
Okay, so let me. I agree with you too. So I don't want to stick on that too much longer, even though I agree that it should be a felony. But the first time as a misdemeanor, it's still a crime. Just because it's a misdemeanor doesn't mean it's not a crime. But let me ask you guys this: what do you think about getting rid of the first birthright citizenship? And how would that change things? Because now to just come here to plop a baby is no longer an incentive. What do y'all think about that? Coach, Black American, either one of you can go first.
I think it's in a catch-22 now, right? Because what's those they have? It's been going on for years. It's funny how
that doesn't matter.
No, but what I'm saying is there's still people who parents came here, they're not citizens, but they're citizens. They're
there'll be an as of date. There'll be
right. So as of that date going forward, right. Again, it's going to really.
If there's an as of date, right?
But that's going to that right there would also come through the hospitals, because every almost 95% of children in America are born in an American hospital.
With the as of date?
Because as of that date, right? Say as of tomorrow, if
no, it wouldn't be tomorrow. It'd be 9
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just giving it as of. I'm just
making be logical. They won't say an as of date.
Yeah, not as of tomorrow.
Whatever date it done. Yeah, I know it's not tomorrow, but it'll be more than 9 months.
Yeah, whatever date they give between now and the next 2 years. The only thing I'm saying is when that baby's born, say the parent is not. It's going to be a little stricter to get into the United States in 2028. They're changing the game.
Okay. So what are you trying to say though? What's
what I'm trying to say is once that baby comes is born into an American hospital, they take everything. That baby is a registered patient, a registered human being on Earth, right?
That doesn't make
so they may be able to get a Social Security card because you're not legal until you actually able to get that Social Security card.
No, but they would stop that though.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But if they stop it, then how can they even once they come here illegally? The automatic thing.
The baby's still going to have parents.
But the automatic thing to do. But what I'm saying is the parents' automatic thing to do when you get off that little whatever you get over here, the border, the boat, whatever.
Okay.
Guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna house you over here in these little trailers for about 3 days, and they do it like the Army. We're gonna ship your ass right on back over where you came from.
With your baby.
Military do it all the time. They got the capabilities. Yeah, with your hold on, with your baby. We're gonna give it to baby American.
Where's the catch-22 at?
The baby's born. Yes, we gave it that you get you some breast milk or some Similac. You going on, we ain't look. I'll pay you. The way the military move, it won't take you to look. It won't take you 2 days to get back across that water. We're gonna get you back there about 5 o'clock.
You said there was a catch-22. I still don't understand.
Well, I was saying that if a baby's born in the hospital,
in the hospital, they're born in the hospital.
But the parents are not American citizens.
So what?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if America births that baby, then they still got to process that baby.
That child is a citizen, is what he's saying. If it's born over here, that child is a citizen.
They get rid of birthright citizenship. The child is not a citizen.
Right, so the baby can't even be born here, or if it is, guess what? They got hospitals. I'm just saying they got hospitals capable of birthing a child, but you still going back to where you came from.
But that's not true. I mean, the baby doesn't have to be a citizen to be born in the United States.
I know that are paying, but if they get rid of birthright citizens, that means the parent's going to have to be here. So if you're an illegal alien, so are you saying America's going to allow illegal aliens to come here, chill out for a couple of months?
Listen to me. What I'm saying is we're going to always have some illegal aliens here.
Right.
There's always going to be illegals here. They're just not going to be in the numbers that they are now. So if in fact you're here illegally and you happen to get your girl pregnant, they're going to hospitalize the woman. They hospitalize illegals now. Right. But when the kid's born, the kid won't be a citizen.
Right. So
the only difference is that when they kick you out, you take your kid with you.
But exactly. That's where it's supposed to be.
That's not a catch-22.
So what I'm saying is, if you already here illegal, once you go to the hospital, you already gonna be registered as an illegal. So they're gonna automatically kick you out when that baby's born anyway. They're gonna flag you back.
That's necessarily true. You're gonna.
So what you're saying is, how can they be illegal? Okay, how can they be illegal?
Because the hospital. If you're in labor, they're not gonna fucking ship.
I'm not saying that labor are paying the baby's born. The baby's born. They give them 48 hours.
The baby's ready to be extra. They're gonna give you your kid. And they're gonna kick you both out.
So they're gonna leave in 48 hours after the baby's born. This is like I said.
All right. So let me say something. My cousin is married to a girl. My cousin is married to a girl from Guatemala. They've been married about 20 years. Right? Okay. They got 4 kids. Okay.
All the kids
she is illegal. They deported her ass. Right.
Okay.
So they deported her. He got the kids, all of that stuff. We all got some money, put it together. We got her to get back over here to America, right? Because, I mean, she's family. She done been around like 24 years, okay?
Right.
So birthright citizenship to me is for like they said, for the enslaved people, it is for their children. I don't think you realize, Mr. Payne, that these Mexican girls, these girls from Honduras, Ecuador, Peruvian, they're coming over here and getting with American men and having children.
Well, I do
So
understand.
those,
Why would I get that?
so
I do
those
get that.
children, so those children are American citizens,
That's why the
especially
question
if
is,
they're.
what do you think about
Yes.
a birthright citizenship? Should it continue or not?
As long as one of the parents is American, then yes, it should continue.
Okay. Okay.
So what about the parent who's not? What should happen
No,
to
no,
them?
no. I agree. See, that's why I'm saying it's going to be.
I don't care.
It's going to be
I don't
really
care.
important. It's going to be really important to see how they're listening to this case right now. So it's going to be very important how they rule, because I agree. If whether they're married or not, if one of the parents is American, then those kids should probably be American.
Yeah, but if they're married, especially in term like my cousin, married for many, many years, then
I disagree with that.
Mention of him is American. Of course you disagree.
Well, not really. I don't think there's no statute of limitations on being illegal. That's why they deported her.
No. This is the whole thing about, and this is why I say you guys that are older, you guys, y'all minds, it absolutely does. No, because these, I'm going to explain to you why. Okay. You guys don't realize when these people done came out here and at 3 years old and started going to school all the way from elementary and graduated college. These people are the same as us now. I'm gonna use a perfect example. Trigger Mike.
Right.
Oh shit. Y'all still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, you can't hear us?
So Trigger Mike is a perfect example.
Okay.
He was born in America. I believe he was born in America, but he's Nigerian and he says it. Okay. So it's just a complete difference in the way they look at things. We all can look at him and say Trigger Mike is a perfect example of a black man or somebody doing well. We don't look at him and say that Nigerian nigga or that tether. I mean, not the people that's cool with him.
Some people do.
But he's a citizen, though, man. I don't know if you
right? He's a citizen now.
Listen, man, I'm gonna take it out for you. I work with illegal families and children in the high school. They have special little caveats for those children who are illegals in sanctuary cities and states, right? So yes, you can not be born here, your family not be born here, and you gain citizenship, and they began getting citizenship. Or even under the old regimen, you born here, you gain citizenship, but you black, your ass got to gain citizenship. It ain't no way around it. Don't think people over here trying. People of melanated skin, you ain't over here legal. Now, if you light skin, almost white skin, they let you pass. However, there is also a law that if you call, and they don't really enforce it, but if you it's almost like you harboring one of these illegals. That's a crime. You can go to jail, be fined, all that. So be careful when you do that, right? Yes. The fact that you have children with her, right? Yes, that you, as the individual, make sure you take those children through the process to become legal, get them a Social Security card so they can have the full benefits of being in America. Yeah, right? I
agree with that.
But anybody else outside of that, you should go through the process. I don't understand how people come here, realize they want to, because most people that go here, we the best poor people on the planet. Don't get it twisted. We the richest poor people on the planet.
Before we go down there, you're hitting the point though. If you come here with young children, that's what DACA was for, right?
Just go through the process.
You come here with young children, you need, as a parent, responsible parent, you need to be putting them on the path to full citizenship.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you just should be. Yes. Now, let me just go ahead and move on, because I wanted to say my piece. At first, I was all for birthright citizenship. Then I started thinking about a little bit more. And now the biggest impetus, impetus, right, for people to come here, especially women, is to have a baby here, so that kid will be a citizen and somehow give them bennies to become citizens themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are bennies. And I'm saying, without that driving force, without that being the motivation, right, less people would want to come here because there's no longer a way out or a way in. And if they take that away, then I think that's okay, right? I think that's okay. Because what the 14th Amendment was for us.
Yeah.
Originally, even though it was written like so you could drive a train through it. Now, I so we're finished with man, Brandon. I have one more thing I wanted to do. And while you're up here, because the president laid out 3 or 4 steps that he wants the blue states to go through, namely Minnesota, in order to get all of this consternation over with, but the governor has to agree, right? And I want to play that for you guys. I want to play that part. So let me do this. If I can find my cursor, get this out of the way, and get the next one up. And this is the last thing, and then we'll have conclusions. This is very short. It's very short. All right. It's very short. Okay. Hold on for a second. Let me share this. And I got to say something about this too. Hold on, Coach. Here it is, right here. I do these political reaction videos. Okay. Look at this. Before I do this, look at this, Coach. And I did this today. I got 382,000 views.
It's good shit right there, man.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was popping up. And I did this one today. So let's get to Caroline Levitt. And let me start where she starts. And
I hope it was all good views.
Say what?
I said, I hope it was all good views.
Probably not. Okay.
Defiance, 2 Minnesotans have now tragically lost their lives on the streets of Tim Walz's state. It is President Trump's hope and wish and demand for the resistance and chaos to end today. That's why President Trump spoke with Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number 1, Governor Walz, Mayor Fry, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation. Number 2, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes. If Governor Walz and Mayor Fry implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions. Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities once and for all.
See, this was one of my biggest freaking pet peeves. I thought that having sanctuary cities by name was unconstitutional to begin with. So there you go. What do you think, Coach?
I mean, it's just more political baseball.
No. What do you think about what he's requesting in return?
I mean, I think that's something he would request from every state. You know,
but he didn't have to. The other states are complying already.
Right. But what I'm saying, it's part of his jurisdiction as president, right? And I think, the fact that he has to use it, but what I'm saying is the fact that he has to use it on Minnesota just goes to show how, disarray, politics are. And, they all are sort of in the money. And it's unfortunate because he was also a candidate of Kamala Harris, right? So it's all connected, you know, and they was going to keep that.
Reasonable. Do you think?
I mean, the reason is because
do you think it's a reasonable request?
No, it's part of. Like I said, no, it's not. It's not that. It's a simple request. It's not even. He's doing it the right way, and he's doing it sort of easy, because he could just go in there and say, "I'm taking over," send the National Guard in there and just take over.
He really can't.
But he has full authority over the National Guard and the reserve.
What I'm saying is that he can, but I'm saying he's trying to tell Tim Walz.
Right. He don't want to go to the extreme.
Yeah, it's a reasonable request.
Yes.
Just comply with a reasonable. That's all he's asking. If you, and this is the whole issue all along. Hey, let us in to talk and work with your police, and then all this shit will be over. I can guarantee you that Tim Walz is going to say some stupid shit, and he's not going to do it unless he already did. This all happened today. This is all real time.
Yeah,
I don't trust Tim Walz. He's a Manchurian candidate. I mean,
they all on the same. But they all cut from the same cloth.
Nobody spent as much time in China as Tim Walz.
Yeah, it's all cut from the same cloth. I guarantee he got businesses in China selling it over in America for the extraordinary, astronomical price. But it's all part of that. It just depends on who's in office. I just appreciate over my lifetime within government and learning government and knowing government from outside America. I'm glad it's sort of the Band-Aid is getting ripped off.
Oh, I'm glad about that too.
I'm appreciative, especially now, this time in my life where I can see that, the people that have done it the right way, it's starting to pay off. So yeah, man, like I said,
Walz won't, I have a feeling that he won't cooperate.
He don't have to cooperate. You don't have to, because what the government can do is take away funding.
I agree with you. But if Trump has to escalate to insurrection, much more than 2 people are going to die.
It won't be insurrection. He'll just be calling.
If he puts the insurrection, that's the only way he's going to do it. That's the next level. Is the Insurrection Act. That's
so there, right? He can do that.
No, what I'm saying is that's the last resort. You don't want to do that.
Exactly. That's why he go to him like he did on everybody else. I pay and say, hey, this is what we need to do because we trying to get everybody out of here so we can sort this out.
Well, listen, everybody. The point is, my man Brandon said it, but they've invested $1 trillion to bring these people here.
Right.
They want a new voting bloc. They don't want ICE to be successful.
Right.
And so the point really is he's trying to show not Walz. The president is trying to show the rest of America that a reasonable request is all it takes to get rid of all the bullshit. So it's a message to us, not to Walz, right? Because that's the bad messaging from the Republicans, because that should have been the message from day one. And now here we are, people dying in the street, and you have to put a 3-point reasonable request that, like you said, shouldn't even have to been done, right? Because everybody who's reasonable says, okay, you know what, I'm gonna let my people talk to ICE so we can get over with this. But the cabal, which Walz is a part of, wants the pain. He wants to use the citizenry as fodder for political gain, and I don't think he's going to give it up.
But Obama did it too. Everybody did it.
Remember, Obama was a Democrat,
right? But still,
the opposition.
Hold on. But he was still wasn't he the guy that was going to run with Kamala Harris?
Obama?
No, Walsh. What's his name?
Yeah,
right. So he's a Democrat too. What I'm saying is,
what does Obama have to do with what you just said?
Because it's all part of the same system. It's all part of the same system. He was going to continue. But I'm paying. Hold on. Let me finish. What Walsh was going to do is continue the welfare rhetoric, continue to allow the Saudis to run the game, continue to keep black people poor. Minnesota is one of the highest places in the nation of welfare
You're
recipients.
adding shit to it, man.
No, but that's what Minnesota's is.
This has nothing to do with this.
It's all part of the same
it's
political rhetoric. Yes.
No.
It's the sanctuary city that pays immigrants.
Black voters with my immigrants.
Right.
That's what they want to do.
But I pay you. Minnesota has a lot of immigrants who's making money off the government. Minnesota collects a lot of welfare from the government.
Somalis,
whatever. They immigrants. Some may be illegal, some not. They get a lot of that. I'm just speaking of what outside of what he's doing. What he's doing is what he has the authority to do to every state. This is what we need to do. You either cooperate or we send in who we supposed to send in. That's part of his, I guess, under his jurisdiction as president. He can do that.
Nobody's denying that.
But that's what I'm saying. The fact that Minnesota is going against it, now the Democrat, again, they're saying, hey, look, America, look how bad the president is. He shouldn't be doing this. That's what I'm saying. And again, all immigrants find a place in the country. You got some that go up New York. The Somalis happen to gather in Minnesota. That's where they gather in spot.
All right, so what's the point? What's the point you're trying to make, though?
The fact is, his request, whether it gets met or not, it's going to have opposition. It's all part of the same mantra. The Somalis, if they here illegal, they shouldn't be here.
The Somalians have nothing to do with how. What I'm saying is, it's all about Walsh. Either Walsh is going to agree with this or not, right?
I don't think he's going to agree.
There's no other politician that's important here. Walsh is either going to agree.
He's not
to these terms or not, and that's the question I have. So I don't know if we're in agreement or not. You're adding all kinds of stuff that don't matter. The fact that the president had to put that simple request out tells me that there's already a problem because it should be understood.
No, but you expect them to just cooperate open-handedly?
No, I didn't. You're putting words in my mouth. I'm saying all it takes is Walsh to agree. If Walsh agrees to those terms, then his police chief or whoever's in charge will have his people coordinate with ICE. And all this other shit will dissipate.
Yeah, it comes down from the governor to the mayor and the mayor to the police chief.
That's right. So what are you arguing about? I don't understand.
I'm not arguing. That's you. You was cutting me off.
You keep adding shit that don't matter. I mean, I'm saying.
But I just try to bring under a little context to the reason why it's happening and the things that can happen. See, I look at Walsh he gonna say no, and then it's gonna be a fight for 6 months all through the summer, same political BS. And it's gonna be people still gonna be crying about how bad America is. I'm saying I
agree with you there. He's gonna say
that's part of the political rhetoric. That's part of the game of being.
He's gonna say no, but he doesn't have to.
Right, he don't have to, but it's part of the political rhetoric.
And what I'm saying to you, you said, well, then the president will go to the next level.
Yes, I say
the reason why he hasn't gone to the next level right now is because the next level is something none of us want to see.
Well, it all depends.
No. None of us really.
What's the next? Hold on. What's the next level? The
Insurrection Act is the next level.
Oh, but what? Just because it's an act doesn't mean they go in guns blazing. They gonna go in and they go.
The Insurrection Act is the next level, and there might be some cops that, like the police chief, is compromised.
But the cops get out the way.
Wait, let me finish. There might be other people with guns in the military or the National Guard who are compromised. Who will? The mayor, the Attorney General of Arizona, essentially told people to shoot ICE agents. She did so. She did say that.
She's never been part of the military.
She said it though.
I mean, she can say it, but again,
when you say shit like that, your population is always takers.
Well, she's the problem in that city. Whoever would tell any government agency would tell citizens to fight against the federal government.
There's going to be people who are takers of that information and act on it.
Well,
That's
again,
what I'm
that's
saying.
part of
So if the president
the
does the Insurrection Act and brings in the army, there may be some National Guard and some cops willing to fight the fucking army. We don't want to see that.
Hold on. No. The National Guard would be the people coming in. It wouldn't be it's going to be National Guard.
The National Guard there under the
right, but here's the thing. He's not going to
allegiance like that, man.
It's only the National Guard.
We're talking about protocol.
Protocol is he can't bring in regular army, man. Okay, he won't bring in not regular army. He'll just give an order for the National Guard to do what they have to do.
Maybe another state.
No, it's going to be any National Guard under any state.
The National Guard that's there are under Walsh's orders right now.
But because the president hasn't acted on his authority.
What I'm saying
if he acts on his authority, the National Guard is automatically going to do it.
And I'm telling you that there may be some of those guys who break ranks and from Minnesota, because that's where they're all from. They're probably all fucking liberals. So they may not do what the president wants them to do.
But he brought in the National Guard from another city, though. Now I can see the people.
They're Minnesota, right?
Hold up. No, he brought them in from somewhere else. He got them on standby. But what I'm saying is this:
who got them in from standby? Walls?
No, Trump.
Yeah, but the National Guard is already there.
I know, but let me finish our pain. Minnesota has a National Guard, so they already there.
Right,
they already there.
Under Walsh's command.
Right, because the president hasn't said do what you got to do.
And you're saying that once the president steps in, they're going to change allegiance.
Yes, most of them will.
We don't know that.
But I'm saying you can't. Here's the problem, though, and this is where I agree with you. Some of them, a lot of them live there. You know what I'm saying? Some of them. But again. Okay. Most of those soldiers, if America, if you want to see America burn, if soldiers go against the military and the citizens, and the slow ass citizens think that they gonna have enough armor to go up against the American soldier, they whole city go burn.
That's the point I'm making.
They whole city go burn.
There could be a possibility of that happening. Nobody wants to see that. Not even the president, not even our crazy president. He doesn't even
Minnesota wants to see it. Minnesota wants to see it. You know why? Because they try, because it ain't white folk that's gonna be out there shooting. It's gonna be stupid ass black folk and other immigrants out there thinking they can shoot.
There's a lot of white people in the National Guard.
Yes, but they're not gonna go against the government unless they are hillbilly.
Yes, they will. Why do you think it's only black people?
It's gonna be some hillbillies. It's gonna be some feminist hillbillies. Ain't gonna be ain't gonna be
who hate Trump.
No,
those are the people who hate Trump. What are you talking about? That's the
believe me. Now, the last thing American citizens want to ever do is think that they're gonna go arm in arm with the United States government.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but
that would be the dumbest move ever.
That's why he doesn't want to do the Insurrection Act, because the worst visuals are probably going to happen. We'll see soldiers fighting soldiers.
And if
we might see soldiers fighting soldiers. What's going on? I can tell you how you doing. Man, I wouldn't want that, but golly. Anyhow, man, I think we're in violent agreement for whatever, But anyway, Coach, there's nothing more to hear. This particular press conference was a good one. I can't believe it, man. I don't know what I said, but man, people,
just the information. The information is vital. It's real time information, and it's a current event. A lot of people look at it.
I do a lot of those damn political reviews. Anyway, man, any final thoughts, man?
No, man. Good show, man.
What's the conclusion here, man? What's the conclusion? Before you final thought,
in reference to
insurrection, the blue state problem is the final solution what President Trump asked Tim Walz to agree with or not? Those three things.
I think to me, he should allow them to do what they need to do so they can sort it all out before the summer hits, before the weather changes. Right now, it is cold, so I can see they want to show some empathy instead of have people just strung out in the cold. I understand that. However, right, I'm American first. I want my son and his son to have opportunities that I didn't get to have. And I believe I had a lot of opportunities.
I agree with your point.
So I just think that right now, people, especially people of melanated complexion, just step back. You know what I'm saying? Focus on building who you are, getting in spaces, getting the trainings you need with this new technology. Buy your little 2-bedroom, fix it up, whatever. Find somebody that's willing to work with you and, support you in any aspect. That's man or woman, because I would hate to see the women go the prime of their life, can't get a husband, can't have no healthy kids. Everybody kids slow because ain't nobody got no balanced diets no more. I would hope that we can find a way to fix it. And from what I see, it's a lot of people in their 40s, they crying, but it's a lot of young people who are looking for a better way. Okay. And I tell you like you, because you were saying it, I wish you would go into those spaces where those young men are and give them some of that Catholic school love that you got, and it would benefit. But again, not everybody do it.
Well, no, I hear you. I mean, listen, at one point I was doing some stuff like that a while ago with you.
They need it now,
though. They do. But
I get it, you like me, man. Retire, man. Help them slow kids, man. It ain't not,
if it was a way to reach those kids on my terms, I'd do it. Yeah.
It is a way. It is a way. Is what I'm saying. It is a way. But again,
maybe one day you should just send me an email and shit.
All right, I can do that, man. It is a way, man. I can. We can talk about something.
I can dig it. I mean, I know there's a way, but then it's just up to the will. I've been mind talking to some kids
on your terms too. On your terms, brother.
It would have to
because you tell the truth, and that's what they want, and they'll pay you good money.
So my man, Black America's not here, and I wish he was, because his thing is that we shouldn't say shit to the youth because our shit is outdated.
That's because he ain't got nothing good to say. You know, so if you ain't got nothing good to say, yes, but at least I pay you. You give solutions, and you hold them. You would hold them accountable on the BS. But you would also help them understand how it can sort of change itself over time by doing certain things.
But the one thing I do agree is that I wouldn't want to dictate how people behave, because I tell the youth and the young people in my own family, the future is theirs to shape. Yes. But they should take wise counsel on how to do it.
Yes.
And if you're not learning from the good things that happened from the past, definitely you should learn by the bad things and make sure you can avoid them.
And that's the message they need to hear from you. Not saying you, but the more
I'm saying, I hear you.
Because the way you look, with the way you explain them to it, it gives them something to think about.
Exactly.
And over time, you're going to start seeing how they are being the person that you're asking them to work to be. You're going to be able to see that because you can connect it, and they're going to always respect you. Yeah. See, right now, think about our pain. We teenagers. Yeah. Hold up. When we were teenagers, we hear it go in one ear and out the other.
Hey, that's true. That's always been the case.
But over time, the fact that you have been able to do the things you did, and the fact that you stand steady, you stand sort of true.
But here's the thing.
So
no, you're right. So here's the one thing in the Black community, whatever it seems that the youth in the Black community, both boys and girls, have been taught by some Black people that the elders, and I'm not just saying because I am one, that wisdom from the elders is useless. There's enough people out. Well, no, hold on. I know you're right. I agree with you. But there's enough people out there saying that. Not everybody, but there are enough people out there are saying that. And so
I'm paying.
Well, no, you're saying you deny that there's not enough people out there saying to them that older people, you think
No.
those people, you think
Because you're not looking at that 14, 15, you're looking at 21s and
no, I'm
over.
not. No, I'm
Because
not. Here's
listen,
what you have the advantage of. You working with people in real time.
and I'm telling you, nobody's talking to them about any of the stuff you talk about.
Okay.
Nobody. And I don't care what I'm talking, black, white. Nobody is giving these kids any type of vision and motivation to be better.
Okay.
Nobody is doing it. That's what I'm saying. You have that person, you have that message that's needed. And listen, I ain't talking about 35s and 20, these 16, 17, 18-year-olds, boys, I can tell you, they will love somebody like you. They will love somebody like you. That's just, listen, I've been around a lot of people that work with you.
Maybe one of these days we'll.
Bro, they would love somebody like you, man. Now they might not take it. Now listen, I pain. They ain't just gonna be like take everything you say as the word of God at first, right? But the more consistent you are, and you can start showing them, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, like I said, I don't disagree. When I was doing some tutoring, we used to have classrooms set up, and we had maybe 40 kids. We used to on Saturdays we would go to a school. They let us use the school in the classroom, and we would talk about just regular life stuff. We would talk about finances. We would talk about money. We would talk about a few things. And we would teach them math, right? We would tutor them in math, and that was, that shit was rewarding, But the program, of course, ran out of money. That kind of stuff.
That's what they say, but there's money for it, and there's lots of money for it, millions of dollars for it, right?
Yeah, you just got to know how to find it.
And that's our pain to see. That's what I'm saying. And I guarantee the time that you gave to those individuals, right, over the course, and now that they are probably all adults, most of them are probably doing okay.
Yeah, I hope so.
And
anyway,
so,
but no, I appreciate the rhetoric. But no, listen, I can't argue what you're saying, man. I think you're right. And it's good to have people up here because I fall prey to this. It's good to hear people who are optimistic about the possibilities, right? So because it depends on what you're looking and how you're looking, right? If you're looking at 35-year-olds and 40-year-olds, even though to me they're still young, they could make a difference. A lot of them are stuck in their ways already. Whatever they believe, they believe. It's just not changing. It's just not changing. But then again, I'm a perfect embodiment of even at an older age, you can evolve. Because, like I said, I voted for Hillary Clinton, and I'm still wondering how the hell I did that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but it's harder to change. Change the older you get. Everybody knows that. You got to get them young. So anyway, man, listen, man, this was a good one. Black America, I appreciate him coming up because he's always in opposition to me. I think we'd be arguing at the same point. We just argue. But it's good to see somebody come up here. And I always appreciate you, Coach Ferg.
No, man,
Delia popped in, and all the folks in the chat was live. I didn't recognize as many of them. But hey, that was it, man. Until next time, next Monday, peace out. Our pain, over and out. I got to say this. I'm everybody's favorite baby boomer. Later.